Hello! This is Buzzed Pucks, and welcome to the final week of the regular season of the NHL. I'm Bert.
I'm Clay.
And we're here to get you ready for the playoffs, because boy howdy am I excited, and they start tonight.
The time of us recording.
Yeah, the time of us recording. Starts tonight.
Woo!
Woo! So everybody can be super excited for the playoffs and be super stressed out for the playoffs if your team is in it, like I'm going to be. At least for one round.
I'm not stressed out at all.
No, well,
it's going to be great.
I mean, I'm stressed because I always want my team to win. I don't think they will, but we'll talk about that at the end. We're going to have a little preview, have a little fun. I think me and Clay will make a prediction on what we think.
Yeah.
Who's going to win each series. And
each round.
We're going to find out. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. We'll redo it after each round.
Exactly.
But before we get to that, before we get to any hockey, what are we drinking, Clay?
We are drinking a hockey-themed beer.
We are indeed.
It is Boston's own Harpoon. And we're drinking the Hometown Hat Trick, which is a triple dry hopped Pilsner brewed with Charlie Coyle, Chris Wagner, and Matt Grzelcyk.
Yes. There's a drop of each one of them in every sip of this beer. Drop of their sweat or something, whatever.
It's their blood.
It's even worse. It's their blood.
Harpoon had these guys because they're all from Massachusetts. So.
Oh, are they actually from Massachusetts?
Yeah, they're all from Massachusetts. Look at the back.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It even says.
Yes, it even says. So, also, all the proceeds for every case sold goes to the Corey C. Griffin Foundation. I don't know what that foundation is.
Well, that's nice anyway.
Exactly.
I'm sure somebody may be out there listening to it. Somebody definitely out there knows about it. Maybe they're listening. We don't know what it is. I'm sure that's very nice that it's going to a charity or a foundation of some sort. Unless it's like a Ponzi scheme kind of charity, which, those exist too. Anyway.
But we're going to assume it's not.
We're gonna assume the best for Harpoon and those three guys on the Bruins.
It really breaks my heart to drink a beer like this.
Because you dislike the Bruins.
So much.
But hey, it's an alright beer.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's yummy.
Oh man. I can't believe we're at the end of the season. I really can't believe it.
We made it.
We made it. And now we get to do the playoffs. And then we'll be back next year, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm having fun, so why not?
Why not?
You want to start us off?
I'll start us off. We're going to start off in the Pacific.
Coolio.
Not going to lie, we're going to breeze through some of these just because...
Oh, yeah. A lot of these games, just don't fucking matter. Even the teams going to the playoffs were like, we don't care.
We clinched, we're done.
Yeah.
Calgary went 1-1-1 this week.
All right.
They beat Nashville in overtime, lost to Minnesota in overtime, and then lost to Winnipeg in the last game of the season.
Their last game of the season.
Their last game of the season. So they were 1 for 11 on the power play.
All right.
And then 9 for 13 on the penalty kill.
All right.
Go ahead. Johnny Hockey had 4 points in those 3 games, 1 goal and 3 assists.
All right.
Their final overall record was 50, 21, and 11, which is good for 111 points.
Hell yeah. That's we've said this before about Calgary, but they're quietly having a much better season than I think anybody really thought they were going to.
It seems like just last season was an abnormality. Yeah,
last season they just had a pretty bad season, and this year they're back on track. Johnny Gaudreau had a fantastic season.
Matt Tkachuk, Elias Lindholm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they all 40 goal scorers, as you just told me before.
Yep. Mangiapane on the second line had 35 goals.
Playing great. Markstrom, great. Their defense, no real big standouts on their defense I can think of, but fairly solid.
That makes it impressive.
Yeah. Sometimes if you don't talk about a defenseman, that means they're doing a very good job. So yeah, and they're moving on to the playoffs.
All right. Next up is Edmonton.
All right, I forgot you did it in standings order.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alberta runs the Pacific. 3-0 this week for Edmonton. 5-1 win on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
5-4 overtime win against San Jose. And then a 3-2 shootout win against Vancouver to finish off their regular season. 3 for 9 on the power play.
That's great.
6 for 7 on the penalty kill.
Also good.
McJesus did have 5 points,
McJeebus.
1 goal and 4 assists, but I do want to shout out Keller Yamamoto.
Oh, did he have a good week?
He had a good week. He had 4 points,
Hey,
1 goal and
nice.
3 assists.
He, I mean, if Edmonton wants to do anything, their depth needs to do stuff, and Keller Yamamoto has to do something. He is really, he is stunning because he's either playing with McDavid or Draisaitl, one of the two of them, and it's crazy that he doesn't have more points than he does, just by osmosis of being next to them.
Well, I think he was also David and Draisaitl are the first line.
Sometimes they split them up.
Sometimes
to make the 2 lines, but because Draisaitl can play center and wing.
Gotcha. I think he's more comfortable on the wing, though.
Yeah, so sometimes they're together, sometimes they're apart. It's probably better to spread it around, but we'll see what
smarter.
they do. Yeah.
Or just go balls to the wall with one line and score as many as you can with them.
That doesn't usually work in the playoffs.
No,
though.
but to get you to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair. It usually does work in the regular season, but once you get to the playoffs, that can be exposed pretty quickly.
100%.
Yeah. But McDavid, Art Ross winner, most points.
Oh yes, yes he did.
So he clinched. He clinched that in one of the games.
Edmonton's overall record was 49, 27, and 6, which is good for 104 points.
Such a turnaround from the beginning of the calendar year,
middle of the season. All right, we're going on to the last Pacific playoff team.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
And Edmonton's opponent.
Yep.
Yeah.
1-0-1 this
Nice.
week, beating Seattle and then losing to Vancouver in overtime to finish off the regular season. 0 for 5 on the power play, 6 for 7 on the penalty kill. Gabriel Velarde had 2 goals and 2 assists.
Nice.
In those 2 games. He's their top offensive player. And also, Dustin Brown announced his retirement.
Yeah, after the playoffs are over. After the playoffs are over for LA.
Yes.
Whenever that might be.
This is a big one because...
Yeah, he's been there forever.
I think he's 03 class. Or 05.
I mean, his entire career has been on the Kings. He was the captain at one point.
He was. His number is getting retired.
Did they say that?
No, but if you think about it, he spent his entire career with the Kings.
I mean, it would make sense.
He is their first captain to lift the cup for the Kings.
Was he the captain?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
For both times.
Yeah.
So
then I wouldn't argue it. Yeah.
I mean, that core.
I wouldn't say he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
But retiring his number as the Kings.
Yeah. It's a different
I would say that's a slam dunk.
I say Doughty, Kopitar, Brown, and Quick all get their numbers up there. Yeah, because that's their core group.
I mean, they won 2 cups in 3 years, and that was the only 2 cups LA's ever won.
Yep.
So
and they were juggernauts.
Yeah.
For a 5-year span, it was either
Chicago or LA. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't argue with that too much either.
Yeah. So he announced his retirement. So good long career for him.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of very good.
I would say Hall of pretty good. He had some real good seasons, and then he kind of tapered off.
Yeah. He was a power forward in the sense he
got beat up.
He threw the body around.
Power forwards, unfortunately, don't last super long.
No, but he was able to change his game a little bit, so he was able to stick around.
Yeah.
Not as effective, but...
Yeah. But good career.
Exactly.
A very good career for Brown. Congratulations on the retirement.
A lot of other teams in the Pacific hate him, which is,
I mean, that's fair.
Fair, 100%. Yeah. They are 44, 27, and 11 for 99 points.
But you know what? Fantastic. Regardless of what happens in the playoffs for the Kings, fantastic season. No one expected them to make the playoffs. Their younger guys have stepped up. The older guys have, been there too. Mm-hmm. And, great season for LA, regardless of what happens against Edmonton.
Amazing season for LA. They weren't expected to.
A big step forward in their rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were not expected to be here.
One team that was expected to be here is next.
First team out.
Vegas.
Is Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, karma caught up to Vegas this year, it seems like.
Oh, give me 1 second. I have to look up one thing. They were 1-0-2 this week
1-2.
1-0-2. They lost in the shootout to Dallas.
Yeah.
They lost in the shootout to
And that knocked them out of the playoffs.
Chicago to knock them out of the playoffs. And then they beat St. Louis as their last game.
They did, yeah.
2 for 4 in the power play.
Okay.
And then 4 for 6 on the penalty kill. Jack Eichel. 2 goals and 3 assists.
Jack Eichel.
Yep. And then
he had a good week.
And then Chandler Stevenson also had a goal and 3 assists.
Yeah.
So I do want to shout out Thompson because he played.
I almost said Tage Thompson, and I know that's not him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the goalie Thompson.
He played the last 5 games of the season.
Oh yeah, because Leonard was basically out for the remainder of the season.
Vegas lost 3 shootouts in a row.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Vegas is people will be like, oh, karma caught up to them, like I joked before. And I kind of agree. I don't love the way they treat all their players.
I don't either.
However, injuries is what sank Vegas this year because they didn't have Mark Stone for like half the season.
Pacioretty was out a long time.
Pacioretty was out for a big chunk of the year.
Martinez.
Eichel, too, was also not there for like the first half of the season. Alec Martinez. Robin Leonard was out for the last several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately Vegas, historically, this is a historic season for Vegas, the first year they missed the playoffs.
Well, as Vancouver would tell you, you lose enough must-win games, you're out.
You're out, yeah.
Well, and Thompson saved
I see, one of those
14 for 17 shootouts and in those 3 shootouts, Vegas scored 0 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll do it too. Yeah.
He stood on his head. There was a 7-rounder.
You know what's funny? I'm sure if you've been listening to us the entire season, you know I do not like the shootouts. There was somebody that wrote an article recently that said maybe we should get rid of the shootouts, and they talked to all of the general managers, and a lot of the general managers were like, "Yeah, we should maybe," but it wasn't like they weren't advocating for continuous overtime until somebody won. They were advocating for extending 3-on-3 for a little longer, and then if there's no decision by the end of that, just a tie, which I would be okay with. If they got rid of the loser point in overtime and then added ties again, that's fine with me. I hate shootouts. I really do.
I know, and I disagree with you on this one.
That's fine. I'm sure plenty of people do, but I just really don't like them.
I do like the idea of extending the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
Instead of 5 minutes, make it 10.
I think if you extended it to 10, almost definitely somebody will score within 10 minutes.
Exactly. And if you don't, I think a shootout's fine after 10 minutes of 3-on-3. 5 minutes
they're not getting rid of it anytime soon. No. But I hate it, and so I'm biased. So I would love to see it go away, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Personally, I think it's a good skill. It is a low skill competition at the very end because some goalies are good at the
that's true.
Shootouts.
Yeah, that's true.
Some goalies are bad. Some players, same thing.
It's just I just really hate that idea that I guess if a team is better, you should beat the team that's worse. But the thought that go to the shootout and you just lose based on the fact that the other team has one guy who's real good at shootouts. I hate that.
Then have a guy who's good at shootouts.
I guess, but then you're then we have to pay this guy to be good at shooting. Whatever. We don't need to go on that tangent right now. We got playoffs to talk about.
All right. That's Vegas.
I just thought it was interesting that somebody wrote an article about it.
Don't realize.
Or talk to the GMs.
It's been a couple years, but it's the GM switched out.
For Vegas?
Yeah, McPherson.
Oh. Did he leave?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh. I don't think I realized that either.
And then it's this new GM who is the definite wheel and deal.
Sometimes that works out, and I've already seen people be like, "Oh, well, maybe Jack Eichel's a bust in Vegas." He's coming back from a major injury.
He played pretty well. He's made some mistakes.
He's gotten better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The entire
Everybody
time.
makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Hall of Famers make mistakes. No one's perfect.
Right, but he in the same. It's one of those things everyone focuses on him because people are mad that he asked for a trade from Buffalo before the injury.
Well, yeah.
But it does. I don't blame him for that.
Buffalo's not a particularly well-run organization, so
they're turning. It seems like they're turning around, but his entire career they weren't.
That's what we say for now, But whatever. Let's
go to Vancouver.
R.I.P. Vegas.
R.I.P. Vegas.
Fade them.
Vancouver, another team that lost too many must-win games.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the season.
But they went 2-0-1 this week.
Hey, strong finish to the season for Vancouver.
Did I say Vegas' overall record?
I don't think you did.
43, 31, and 8 for 94 points.
Yeah, they were close.
Close.
No cigar.
Vancouver beat Seattle. They beat the Kings in overtime, like I said, and then lost in a shootout to Edmonton, like I mentioned. 2 for 7 on the power play, 12 for 13 on the penalty kill. Connor Garland and Quinn Hughes both had 1 goal and 4 assists this week.
Nice.
Their overall record was 40, 30, and 12 for 92 points.
Yeah, they got fairly close. You got to give them credit for that. And if they hadn't dug such a major hole at the beginning of the year, they might have been there. Mm-hmm. They might have been there. They might have overtaken Dallas. So,
all right, moving on to San Jose, 0-2-1 this week. Losing to Anaheim, Edmonton, like I mentioned, in overtime, and then got shut out by Seattle to finish off their season. They were 2 for 6 on the power play, and then 5 for 7 on the penalty kill.
Nice.
Their overall record was 32, 37, and 13 for 77 points.
Yeah, that's about par for the course for what people were expecting out of San Jose. Actually, maybe a little better. Yeah, than what people were expecting out of San Jose this year. I can't believe they overtook Anaheim. Anaheim fell so hard.
Like a brick.
Yeah.
Anaheim, only by 1 point, though.
But still.
I know.
Yeah.
1-1 this week. Beating San Jose, like I mentioned. That lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
In that game, 3 goalies played for Anaheim.
Oh, right.
Emergency backup goalie.
Wait, what happened in that game? Did they get sick?
They both got injured.
Did they get injured? Okay.
Gibson was 5 for 5 before leaving with an injury, and then Stolarz was 8 for 10 before leaving with an injury as well.
God,
bringing
it's
out
like a nightmare scenario.
Tom Hodges.
Who the fuck knows who that is? What is he in the organization? Is he their goalie coach?
I don't.
Is he just some random guy?
I think he's a random guy.
Yeah. Sometimes teams will make the emergency third goalie their goalie coach because they know how to play goalie.
It's not him.
But then other times it's like the Zamboni driver for that game. That wasn't even a guy who worked for Carolina. That was a guy who worked for Toronto. Mm-hmm. And then he beat Toronto.
Well, and the guy who played for Anaheim worked, it's in Dallas.
Yeah.
So he is a goalie from England.
Oh.
But he grew up in, I believe, that...
born in England.
Yeah, and came over. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, that's so crazy when that happens.
I forgot to look it up. So he was actually a very good goalie in high school, and then lost his vision in his left eye.
Oh God,
which ended his career.
Yeah, of course. That's horrible. Just if you weren't an athlete, and you lose vision in one of your eyes, that's horrible. Or both of your eyes, even worse.
So,
Did he lose that game? Or did they lose that game?
They lost. Anaheim lost the game, but they were losing before he got in.
Okay.
It was 2-4 as a final score. He only let in 1 goal.
Honestly,
3
not
shots.
that bad.
No,
not that bad. I wonder if Dallas went easy on him. Because you said he worked for Dallas, so maybe they were like, okay, well, we'll just go easy on this guy. We know him. Because I saw him hugging Dallas players at the end of the game.
All the Dallas players.
Don't worry about it.
I don't have it. I
don't worry about it.
Necessarily know if he actually works for.
Well, whatever. I saw him getting congratulated by the Dallas team at the end of it. So at the very least, they were.
And he went and partied.
Very nice.
He went and partied with the Ducks after the game, in that locker room.
I would too if I was one of the players. Be like, dude, you did fine. Okay, you come over here. We're gonna buy you a beer.
I think he got noticed playing club hockey.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. It's always nuts when something like that happens. Every few years,
Makes
something
his
like that
NHL
happens.
debut.
And I mean, like, obviously the legendary one of recent was the Zamboni driver for Toronto.
Ayers.
Who had to, David Ayers.
Yeah.
Who had to come in and play for Carolina because of something. Injuries or sickness or something that happened.
They're the same thing. They both got injured.
And then he had to come in and play.
Like and a period and a half.
And he won.
Yeah.
They won that game. And so people use that story to dunk on Toronto, but you know what?
Such a good story.
Don't dunk on Toronto. Lift up David Ayers for that.
Every time an emergency backup goalie comes in like that, their defense just locks down.
Yeah, you have to. Even the forwards have
Anaheim fans and Carolina fans were both talking in those instances. We're talking about like they've never seen their defense play so well.
Well, yeah, I'm sure like the forwards too are like, okay, we have to protect this guy. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a pro goalie.
So 1 for 3 on the power play, 3 for 5 on the penalty kill. Yeah. Maxime Comtois had 2 goals and an assist.
Look at you.
I know, right? Comtois.
That's such a fun name to say.
It really is.
Maxime Comtois.
Even especially when you put that French in there, you really get it.
Well, that's how you're supposed to say his name.
Yeah,
because the first time I saw it, I was like, Comtois? How do you say his name? And then I heard it. I was like, oh, he's French Canadian. 31, 37, and 14 for 76 points. Yeah, they fell apart latter half of the season, but that's kind of
the trade deadline. They sent Raquel and Lindholm.
It was happening before that too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things like you kind of expect that out of a younger team.
Very much so.
They were surprising people at the beginning of the season, and then they petered off, and it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Seattle's last up, 1-3 this week, for a 27, 49, and 6 inaugural season.
Not the worst team in the league.
60 points. No, not at all.
By 2. They were the 3rd worst team in the league.
Look at them.
Yeah.
Losses to Vancouver, the Kings, and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned the shutout against San Jose. Mm-hmm. Matthew Beniers.
Oh, yeah. They're one of their first-round draft picks. Yeah.
Yep. He had 3 assists. I wasn't going to give a top player, but they're...
You know what? Well, he's only played the last few weeks.
Exactly. They're a rookie.
Yeah, rookie out of...
Michigan.
Michigan. And a few weeks ago, he signed his ELC to come and play the last few weeks of the season. So that's nice.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to give him one that I saw
he was their first draft pick.
Yes. Yeah. 2nd overall.
Yeah.
2 for 15 on the power play, and then 6 for 7 on the penalty kill.
15. Good lord.
I know, right? They had 8 in the one against Vancouver. That's what it does.
Oh my god.
And they scored 1. One. It's not good.
Hey, you know what? It's their inaugural. It's their first season. You can give it to them. You know.
I mean,
they did better than 2 other teams in this league.
Yeah, some of their players just also underachieved.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Some of them overachieved. Jared McCann had an okay season, I think.
He did. No, he had a very good season.
He had a pretty good season for them, so, you know. I would say, you know,
Kelly Yarnko is one who did not show up.
If you're a Seattle fan, stick with it. You know, this is how the first season is supposed to go. You know, just have fun.
The fans are having fun.
Just have fun.
They're putting a lot into like the entertainment value, like pre-games and post-games. Like
that's fine.
So
and you know, just have fun. Support the team, and then I don't know what that was. Have fun. Support the team. Eventually,
you'll be good.
Fingers crossed, they'll get better. You know, as long as they're run properly. Anyway, let's stay in the West, and our mics are being weird right now.
I think it's the headphones that's the problem.
Maybe it's the headphones. Stop. Let's try not to shake the table too
much.
Hands up. Let's stay in the West, and we'll start with a team that definitely did not come anywhere close to making the playoffs. The Arizona Coyotes.
Woo!
But you know what, Clay? They went 3-0 this week.
Gorgeous.
I know, right? They beat Minnesota, they beat Dallas in overtime, and they beat Nashville. 3 playoff teams they beat this week.
And Dallas and Nashville were trying.
They came back from being down 4-1 against Nashville to beat them. In regulation, they beat them 5-4. No, that is not good for you. You know who gets to play Nashville in the first round?
Calgary.
No. Colorado.
No, they played Dallas.
I don't think so.
It got weird at the very end.
It got weird at the end. I'm pretty...
We'll
double check. We'll double check. But anyway, 3-0 this week to beat out Montreal for the second worst record of the season.
Well, Montreal clinched
A while ago.
Actually, this week. Early this week.
So anyway, Arizona 2 for 10 on the power play, 11 for 12 on the penalty kill. Both of those not bad.
Good for them.
Not too bad. Their final record of the season was 25, 50, and 7. And if you're doing your math correctly, that is 57 points.
Woo!
Hey, you know what? Better than I thought they were doing at the beginning of the season.
Better than
Honestly,
everyone thought they were going to do.
The fact that they're better than at least one other team is remarkable. And yeah. But here's the thing: Arizona was not trying to be good.
Oh, they were trying to.
They were trying to be bad. So yeah. Shane Gostisbehere is their top player this week. He had 3 goals and 4 assists.
He had a great season.
Remember what he got traded for? Because it was nothing.
Yeah. Was it future?
It was literally nothing.
Was it future consideration?
Yes, it was. And maybe that future consideration is like a 7th round draft pick or something like that. It was a cap dump from Philly.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. What's that?
Colorado does play Nashville.
Yeah, I was right. That's what I said.
I thought. Well, yeah.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah, it got weird.
That's what I said.
Oh, I was thinking about it. So it is a rematch of last year.
Did they play in the first round last year?
I think so.
They might have. I don't remember. Anyway, that's Arizona. We'll talk about Nashville in a little bit. Chicago also did not make the playoffs, so we'll breeze right through them as well. They went 1-0-2. Got 4 of 6 points.
What they deserve, I think another.
I think they deserve at least 5 more years of being bad.
Well, I think another scandal came out with someone mentioned. I gotta look into it, but there might be more different one.
Oh, for God's sakes, Christ! All right, we'll push that off until we have more information about that, just so we don't speak out of turn.
Right.
But Chicago did beat Philadelphia,
as they should.
Yes, everyone should. Lost to Vegas in a shootout and lost to Buffalo in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Their final record of the season is 28, 42, and 12. That's good for 68 points.
68 points. Look at that.
That is, called it at the beginning of the season. Fucking called it. I just want to say, called it. They don't get a top player. Because, they only won 1 game, and no one really had a good week for them. So
I have a couple teams in the East that didn't.
Yeah, some of these teams didn't really try too hard. It's the last week of the year, so I don't know. Colorado actually had a pretty good week, 2-1. Was it last week or the week before they went 0-4?
Last week.
I think it was last week, yeah. This week has been a blur to me.
I don't understand it.
Because just in case anybody notices, if it sounds a little bit different, we are in a new place now because I moved this past week, and
still getting set up, but it's
still
much
getting
nicer.
set up. Yeah, got to clean up a little bit, get rid of some boxes, but we're getting there. But if you hear any new noises in the backgrounds,
we're learning.
Yeah, we'll get through it together.
We're getting a feel of this new space.
We're getting a feel for it, baby. Anyway, Colorado 2-1 this week. I'm sorry. Let's go back to Chicago really quick. 0 for 8 on the power play, 8 for 8 on the penalty kill, and that's it for Chicago.
Good penalty kill.
Colorado, they beat St. Louis, playoff team. They beat Nashville, also a playoff team. That one was in a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost to Minnesota, a final playoff team. So,
not bad. Not bad.
2 pretty good playoff teams, and then Nashville. 1 for 11 on the power play, 13 for 15 on the penalty kill. Look, Nashville really has not been doing good the last few weeks.
And
so
they're about to not have a good time.
They kind of
You'll
fell.
get to that.
Yeah, they kind of fell butt first in the playoffs this week. But Kadri and Comfer each had 3 points.
Good.
Yeah, that was really it for them. They kind of spread the scoring out.
Yep.
Moving on. Colorado's final record is 56, 19, and 7. Good for 119 points.
That's a lot of points.
It is. Second most in the league.
They did not get the President's
They
Trophy.
did not. Maybe better. It might be better for them that they didn't get it. There's
We'll
that
see.
dreaded maybe President's Trophy curse. Maybe. Dallas, moving on, clinched a playoff spot this week.
Yes, they did.
Because they went 2-0-1. They beat Vegas in a shootout, which helped them clinch a playoff spot. But then I believe, even with losing to Arizona in overtime, that is when they clinched the playoff spot, I think.
They clinched for losing in the beating in the shootout, clinched it for the Kings and Nashville. But you're right.
Yes, and I believe in losing to Arizona in overtime, they clinched, and then because Vegas also, I think, lost that night too.
No, Nashville, Dallas only needed the point.
Oh,
so
okay.
losing in overtime clinched it.
And in fact, they finished above Nashville.
Yes, they did.
And then their last game of the season, they beat Anaheim, as Clay was talking about before. They were 2 for 7 on the power play, 4 for 5 on the penalty kill. Their final record of the season is 46, 30, and 6, which is good for 98 points.
Wow.
Good enough to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Sorry, just turning the page of my notebook.
Nerd.
You have a notebook too, shut up. Minnesota is up next, another playoff team from the Central. They did lose Arizona in stunning fashion. Beat Calgary in overtime, though, so bounce back victory, and then beat Colorado, too, another bounce back victory. They were 2 for 13 on the power play, 11 for 12 on the penalty kill. Their final record of the season is 53, 22, and 7, which is good for, where are they? There they are, 113 points, second in the Central Division. It's a lot of points.
Good.
And you know what? That's probably a better season than people thought that they were going to have.
Including you.
I can't. Did we pick them to go to the playoffs? I
think
remember.
I don't
think we did. I'm not sure.
They might have just been outside, or they might have been a wild card team, or
I didn't
not second in the division.
I mean, at least for me, I didn't think they were going to be terrible, but I didn't think they were going to be that good, like 113 points good.
Right.
Did not think that. So good on them. Great season. You know who also had a great season was Kirill Kaprizov, who I believe finished the season with 108 points, most in Minnesota Wild history.
Yes. And
he had a good week with 2 goals and 3 assists. Good for him.
Kid's good.
That signing was good.
There were so many 100-point scorers this year.
There were a lot.
A stupid amount.
Yeah, there were a lot. We can look at it at the end. I can pull it up.
I can think of 2 on Calgary.
It's 2 on Edmonton.
Stamkos.
Yeah.
Marner and Matthews.
Yeah. We'll look at it at the end. We'll pull it up at the
crazy.
end. Moving on to a team that I've kind of been lambasting a little bit. Nashville did make the playoffs. They are in the playoffs, the last wild card spot in the West. But they went 0-2-1 this week. So I don't really have high hopes for Nashville. They have not been having a good last 3 weeks. And they're playing Colorado in the first round, which is also not great.
And their goal is out.
Yes. I'll get to that in 1 second. They were 3 for 13 on the power play. That's not terrible.
Mm-mm.
And 12 for 14 on the penalty kill. Their final record of the season is 45, 30, and 7, which is good for, I believe, 97 points.
Yep.
It's 97 points. So 1 point behind Dallas, but made it.
Yes, that's all that matters.
That's all that really matters. Granlund had a goal and 5 assists for their top player this week.
Good for him.
Even though they didn't win a game, they did score a lot.
Yeah.
They scored every one of their games. They lost by a score of 5-4.
That's
all 3 of them.
That's hilarious.
2 of them in regulation and 1 in a shootout.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy when every game is the same score.
Those must be fun games to watch too, because they're just
yeah. If I remember correctly, many years ago at this point, when the Penguins played Columbus in the first round of the playoffs, the score of the first 4 or 5 games of that series was 3-2, and it was like one would win, one team would win, the other team would win, one team would win, the other team would win.
It's always 3-2,
and it was just always 3-2.
It's very stressful.
Oh, you're telling me. Anyway, as Clay mentioned, something to keep an eye on is that UC Saros is injured, and I haven't heard anything of his availability for the first game of the series.
Was that injury last week?
It was this week.
It was this week.
He's listed as day-to-day, as all playoff injuries probably will be, unless they're catastrophic injuries.
Last I heard, it was a high ankle sprain.
That's what I think I heard too, yeah. So those are not easy to come back from.
But it's also the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they might just throw him in
Well,
at a certain spot.
He also has to agree to go in as well. But
I think he would if they
I
asked.
think he would too, but
who knows?
have to see.
But who knows whether or not that'd be a hindrance or not.
Even with him in that, even fully healthy with him in that, I don't.
It's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough. So, yeah. So that'll be something to keep an eye on.
I think the reason I was confused because when I started doing this, the Dallas and Nashville games weren't done. So last time I had looked, Dallas was in the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's move on to the final playoff team from the West, St. Louis. They went 0-2 this week. Didn't have a good week.
No.
But finished off a pretty good season. They did lose to Colorado and they lost to Vegas. Both by several goals.
I don't think they cared about the
No,
Vegas game.
they already had clinched. At least the last couple weeks they knew they were going to play Minnesota in the first round. So
try not to show too much of your hand.
Yeah, it's kind of like
let people not get hurt.
Let's not go that hard yet. So even going 0-2, their final record of the season is 49-22-11, which is good for 109 points. Third in the Central, obviously. They were 3 for 7 on the power play this week, 4 for 5 on the penalty kill. O'Reilly didn't get the memo about not playing hard because he had 4 goals and 2 assists this week.
Good for him.
Yeah. And then the final team in the Central who did not make the playoffs, even though they had not a horrible season, the Winnipeg Jets. They did shut out Philadelphia. They did beat they went 3-0 this week.
Good for them.
Yeah. They beat Calgary. And then they also beat Seattle.
Yeah.
Strong finish, I guess.
Strong finish.
They were 2 for 10 on the power play, 6 for 7 on the penalty kill. Their final record of the season is 39-32-11. Good for 89 points. So they finished pretty far out of the playoffs, but,
But still,
what are you going to do? Better than Chicago.
You had your head coach retire mid-season.
Well, step down. He didn't retire.
You're right. Sorry. Resign is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then just...
Yeah.
It's a rough season.
When that happened, it should have been an indication that their season was probably already over. So they're going to be looking for their next coach. I know that the interim coach is going to interview for it.
Yep.
But we'll see. There's been some locker room speculation that maybe Mark Scheifele's not that great of a teammate or something or other.
I've heard a lot of rumblings about Wheeler and Scheifele.
Yeah, they've not been happy and they're not really trying that hard.
It's one of those,
they're being toxic or what.
I've heard the theory, the rumor that if Wheeler's not happy, then nobody's happy type of deal.
Yeah. Well, he is the captain, and that's not great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do the Atlantic. Finish up.
Yeah.
Starting off with our President's Trophy.
President's Trophy winner
For the season, which they won after their second game.
Yeah, they had already clinched that up, so can kind of ignore the last game.
So, they went 1-2 this week.
Yeah.
They didn't care. I'm going to say that, and the last game is going to prove it.
Yeah.
They went 58-18-6 for the season.
That they
for
did.
122 points.
Yeah, what a season by Florida. God damn.
They lost to Boston to start the week. They shut out Ottawa to get that President's Trophy. And then they lost 2-10 against Montreal.
Yeah. So, I would just ignore that score. They were not trying in that game.
Because they put in their third-string goalie.
Yeah.
Johansson, who led in 27 of 37 shots.
That poor guy.
Just sitting there for 10 goals.
I know. It's like that guy that was on Montreal that they just left in there.
Wow.
Oh no, that's not even the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a more recent one where they played the day before.
Was it Primo?
No, it might have been Jake Allen. No, it might have been Jake Allen. It was a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Where they just left him in, and he lit up 10 goals, and he was like, "Am I not getting pulled?" And they were just like, "No, we're not going to put Carey Price into this game."
Oh man.
Which is really rude.
Really rude. 2 for 6 on the power play. 7 for 8 on the penalty kill.
It's stunning because they gave up 10 goals one time this week.
Yeah, and they were 1 for 2.
Huh.
9 even strength goals.
Boy, they did not care about that game.
They did not care at all. Sam Reinhart, 2 goals and an assist.
Hey.
And then Ito, can't read if this is an A or an O, so we'll do it anyway. Luostarinen.
Sure.
He's a 4th line center.
Okay. Sounds good to me. I can't see the name, so.
Luostarinen from Finland, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, names like that are always from Finland.
3 assists.
All right.
That's it. That's Florida.
Yeah, Florida's going in. They're white hot.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do in the first round.
Toronto, 2-0 this week. They are
54,
21-7 for 115 points.
Hell yeah, they are. What a very good season for
behind
Toronto.
Colorado.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, 4 points behind Colorado. But
weren't they 118?
119, I think.
119. All right.
But still, not that far back.
No.
Yeah.
2 wins.
Yeah.
They shut out Detroit and then they beat Boston to finish off the year. 2 for 5 on the power play, 3 for 4 on the penalty kill.
All right.
William Nylander, 2 goals, 2 assists.
Hey.
We're good.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, 2-1 this week as well. 51, 23, and 8 for 110 points.
Bet they were.
They played a 2-game series against Columbus. Won 1, lost 1, and then they beat the Islanders to finish off the year. 4 and 10 on the power play. 5 for 8 on the penalty kill. Good power play.
Yeah.
Be better on the kill. Steven Stamkos had, in 3 games, had 5 goals and 4 assists.
Good for him.
Kucherov also had 7 points.
Look out, Toronto. Them boys be hot.
So, yeah. Both teams are hot going into the
Yeah,
playoffs.
that's going to be
a fun series.
Hell of a series.
We're going to talk about
watch,
that one. Boston, who we're drinking about today.
Boston.
2-1 this week. 51, 26, and 5 for 107 points. Right there.
Right there.
Beating Florida, shutting out Buffalo, and then losing Toronto.
It's really stunning the points drop off after Boston.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Patrice Bergeron, haven't talked about him a lot.
We haven't.
3 goals, 3 assists. He's
Good for
been
him.
solidly good, but there's a lot of
He doesn't score like a ton. Well, he scores quite a bit,
yes,
but he's not like
assist. I think he had 80 points.
He's not like a big time scorer.
3 for 10 on the power play, 6 for 8 on the penalty kill, and that's that. They're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to the playoffs. Yes, they are.
Who's not going to the playoffs is Buffalo.
The rest of the teams in the Atlantic Division.
Now, these next 3 teams are actually pretty close, but we're going to start with Buffalo.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking.
1-1 this week, getting shut out by Boston 5-0, beating Chicago in overtime. 0 for 6 on the power play, 5 for 7 on the penalty kill, 32, 39, and 11, which is 75 points.
Yes, it is.
So
you know what? Good on you, Buffalo. Having definitely a better season.
5th in the division.
Finished 5th. Yeah, good for you guys.
We went from 107 to 75.
Oh yeah, big old drop.
Now we go from 75 to 74 with 32, 40, and 10, 74 points. They went 1-1 this week. Shut out by Toronto, like I said.
Mm-hmm. Detroit is who we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, Detroit. We're talking about Detroit right now. Red Wings. And then they beat the Devils to finish the year. 0-5 on the power play, 2 for 3 on the penalty kill. They are not bringing back their coach, their assistant coach, or their goalie coach.
Yeah,
they announced that
gone.
they're all
gone.
All gone.
Yeah.
Which, I can't think of the coach's name.
Blashill,
thank you. 7 years with Detroit.
Has it been that long?
It's been 7 years with Detroit.
Good Lord.
It's very surprising that he lasted as long as he did, but also he didn't have the strongest roster. So they understand that.
Yeah, it's funny that they finally released them when their roster's getting a bit better, you know?
I would say Detroit underperformed this year.
Yeah, they could have done better.
I feel like they could have had at least 80 points.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
And
they were doing okay at the beginning of the year.
They were doing
just
okay.
kind of petered off. Much like Anaheim.
They had some goalie issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Performance issues. Yeah. So, that way.
It happens to everybody. Sometimes.
Everybody. And some games with Greece and Najakovic, it does make sense that their goalie coach is also not being brought back.
Yeah.
But again, still bright future ahead.
Yeah, I would
Detroit.
think so. Yeah.
The evil empire will return.
It will rise again.
Just a matter of time. Ottawa is up next.
Led by Steve Yzerman again.
Again, 100%. Because
the return of the king, Steve Yzerman.
He made one evil empire in Tampa Bay. Why not do it again?
Why not come back to Detroit where he made one before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was part of one before.
He
was a soldier before.
Was the frontline warrior before.
Ottawa will bring it back to their former glory. Sorry. Like I said, Ottawa 2-1 this week actually. They are 33, 42, and 7 for 73 points.
Yes.
So 2 points separating Buffalo and Ottawa.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
Very close.
Poor Montreal.
Don't worry about that. 3 for 10 on the power play. 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. Tim Stutzla had 2 goals and 3 assists. And then Brady Tkachuk had 1 goal and 4 assists. That 1 goal made him a 30-goal scorer.
Hey, look at that. I think Ottawa...
Buffalo and Detroit don't get top players.
Yeah, that's fine.
No one had more than a point.
Really?
They spread the love.
Crazy.
Both teams got shut out once. So
yeah, I guess that's fair.
Makes a little sense.
Yeah. I think Ottawa has a bright future too.
They really do.
I mean, they've been run very poorly in recent years, but they got Stutzla, they got Tkachuk.
Stutzla's good.
Stutzla's good. So's Tkachuk. And Batherson
and Norris.
And Norris, and they have Shabbat on the back end. He
came back from injury.
He did.
He played all 3 games this week.
Yeah, Thomas Shabbat's a very good defenseman. I think maybe they just need to kind of figure out their goalies and add some more pieces, obviously. Yep. But
I think it's going to be
Ottawa could be there.
It's going to be Forsberg and Gustafsson going forward.
The East could be a real bloodbath next year. Real close bloodbath.
It'll be interesting to see who doesn't make it next year to the playoffs.
Yeah, and who does?
Well, who doesn't this year is Montreal.
Or next year, probably.
Or next year. No, they're not doing it. 2-0 this week.
They had a strong finish to the season.
They beat the Rangers.
They did.
Without 5 of their top best players.
The Rangers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they didn't play.
They sat him. Yeah.
They sat Zuccarello. They sat not Zuccarello.
They didn't need to play him.
Zuccarello's on Minnesota now.
Zabinajad. Oh, that's true. Yeah,
they said
Zabinajad.
But doesn't matter.
No.
4-3 win to get them to 20 wins. And then, like I said, they stomped Florida to get to 21 wins on the season.
22.
Sorry, 21, then 22. For 55 points.
Yeah, 55 points.
40,
worst team in the league.
49, 22, 49, and 11. 55 points. 1-4 on the power play, 3-4 on the penalty kill. Christian Dvorak had 1 goal and 3 assists in those 2 games.
Yeah.
Good for him.
There you go. That's Montreal.
And I'm done.
Excuse me if you heard that burp.
We always hear your burps.
That was a better one. I made it louder because you said that. Anyway, let's talk about the Metro. They got 4 teams going to the playoffs too, and one of them is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Top of the division.
Top of the division. They went 2-0 this week. They beat the Rangers, and they beat New Jersey. Oh, you're making that face in the dog. I didn't know why you were making that face for a second. Their final record of the season is 54-20-8. That is good for 116 points.
The East is stupid.
Every playoff team in the East has 100 or more points.
East is stupid.
I hate it. Anyway, they were 0 for 5 on the power play, but conversely, 5 for 5 on the penalty kill in those 2 games.
Good for them.
They had 5 players. 5 players had 3 points.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I didn't give anybody a specific top player. Stop playing with your ears. Just keep doing that.
She was doing it before I was playing with her ears.
Well, just stop it.
No.
Stop it. Hi, Ruth. Ruth's here now. She's climbing up into Clay's lap. Anyway, that's Carolina.
I made a folding chair.
She doesn't care.
I know.
She doesn't care.
I respect it.
Your lap is there. She can be in it, even though she weighs like 50-plus pounds.
All dogs are lap dogs.
All dogs are lap dogs. Your ears okay? Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't default into babying my dog. Columbus went 1-2 this week. They are not making the playoffs, obviously, but you know what? Had a respectable season.
They did.
37, 38, and 7. Not horrible.
Did you see the story that Merzlikins was having trouble with the cannon? Which why would he not? And I can't believe I didn't even think of it.
I didn't think of it either until I saw that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. That would happen." Oh boy. Yeah. So horrible.
Not a bad season.
Not a bad season.
Especially with what happened in the off season.
Yeah. 37, 38, and 7 were the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's good for 81 points. Not anywhere close to a playoff spot in the East, but you know what? A respectable season.
100%.
Not horrible, not good, but in the middle.
Did better than the bottom 5. Bottom 5 of the Atlantic.
Yeah, so. They finished 2 better in their division, and then everyone that didn't make the playoffs they're the second team out in the East, basically. They were 5 for 15 on the power play, 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. You mentioned that they had was it a home and home against Tampa Bay?
I think so, yes.
Or just a 2-game series against Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Where they lost and they won, and then they lost to Pittsburgh to finish off the season.
Mm-hmm.
Bjorkstrand.
I hear that name a lot.
Had a good week.
Good for him.
3 goals and an assist.
Good for him.
Yeah. So that's Columbus. Some stuff to build on. They got some good young players. I think they can build up a pretty good team. They could be competitive next year as well.
Again, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
It's crazy how almost every team in the East, except for like maybe 4, might make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
Maybe. It depends on how they do, like, and what they do in the off season and coaching and whatever. But
what's that for? What are the 4 teams?
What are the 4?
Other than Philadelphia and Montreal.
I was
not
thinking
New Jersey.
Maybe New Jersey,
yeah.
Because I thought that they were going to take a step forward, and they really didn't this year. And then, 3.
All
3.
Right, cool.
3 then. Yeah, because the other 3 in the Atlantic might take a step forward next year.
Right.
Columbus and the Islanders might be right back in it this year, and then all the teams in the playoffs this year, unless
could take a step back,
unless they have a bunch of players retire or leave or whatever. Could be right there too. So
100%.
Anyway, moving on to New Jersey, who was 0-2-1 this week.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Ottawa in overtime. They lost to Carolina, and they lost to Detroit. I don't know what's going on. You think it's
this? Yeah, 100%.
Okay. It's weird. Hopefully you guys don't hear that, but it's been cutting out every once in a while for us. So anyway, they were 0 for 6 on the power play, 6 for 8 on the penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
Their final record for the season was 27, 46, and 9 for 63 points.
Ooh.
Yeah, not good, not good. Foote and Zetterlund each had 4 points for New Jersey. And that is Adam Foote's son. Cal Foote, I think. Adam Foote, who, I don't remember if he's in the Hall of Fame or not, but a pretty good defenseman who played for Colorado and LA back in the day.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
I can't remember. And Zetterlund, I have no idea who that is. But he had 4 points this week. Moving on to the Islanders, who had a shockingly bad season. They went 2-1 this week.
Finished strong.
Yeah, they did. They beat Washington twice.
Yep.
And then lost to Tampa Bay. Their final record of the season was 37, 35, and 10, which is good for 84 points. They are the first team out in the East. They missed playoffs by 16 points, but similar to Vancouver, if they had not had such a bad start to the season, they might have been right there. Yeah, COVID really wrecked the Islanders' season. And, they got older too. But,
yeah.
They were, are you ready for this? They were 6 for 8 on the power play.
That sounds
this
right.
week, and it was mostly against
Washington. Yeah, no, that sounds right against Washington.
They were 2 for 2 in one game and 3 for 5 in the other game against Washington.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But then they were also 1 for 1 against Tampa Bay on the power play as well.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 10 for 11 on the penalty kill as well. So pretty good special teams week for the Islanders. Matthew Barzal is their top player this week. He had 5 assists.
Good for him.
Yeah. Turn the page, wash your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands. Do you know what that's from?
I don't.
It's from Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, yep, okay.
It's the turtle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, 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 yep.
Norbit?
Sounds right.
It's either I think it's Norbert, maybe. I haven't seen Rocco's Modern Life in a while. Anyway, the Rangers...
It's more of a postmodern life, actually.
At this point. The Rangers went 1-2 this week, but as we mentioned, they were kind of phoning it in for the last couple of
in.
They knew where they were going to finish, and they rested some players. Can't blame them.
They rested all of their players.
Can't blame them for
respect.
it. Yeah. Honestly, might work out for them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Resting players. They lost to Carolina. They lost to Montreal, and then they beat Washington to finish off the season.
I think after the Carolina loss, Carolina clinched the division.
And
so
they were just like, whatever.
We're done.
Yeah. So they knew they were going to finish second, but they went 0 for 8 on the power play, 8 for 9 on the penalty kill, 52, 24, and 6. That's good for 110 points on the season.
I didn't expect this from the Rangers.
I thought the Rangers would be competitive, maybe threaten a playoff spot this year.
Yeah.
Not 110 points good. And you know who you can put most of that on? Shesterkin.
And Kreider.
Yes, and Chris Kreider too.
Man put every shot in the net.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected Shesterkin to have nearly as good of a season as he did. He's going to win the Vezina. If he doesn't win the Vezina...
It's a shame.
Somebody fucked up. And Chris Kreider, did he score 50?
He scored 50. It's the first time he's ever scored 50.
He got 50?
He just sat in front of the net, and any shot towards him, he just tipped it in.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
He had great. He had a great. He had a great season. But yeah, they don't get a top player this week because they didn't really try that hard.
Nope.
A team that really had a horrible season, the Philadelphia Flyers, finished off a bad season with a bad week, going 0-3.
Oof.
They lost to Chicago. They got shut out by Winnipeg, and then they lost to Ottawa to finish off the season. Boy, Philly. I picked you to go to the playoffs, you sons of bitches.
I did too.
2 for 11.
I deserve this.
The power play, 11 for 14 on the penalty kill. Their final record. Are you guys ready for this? They were last in the Metro, 25, 46, and 11. The only team in the East that they are better than is Montreal.
Yep.
And I think they're slightly better. I think they're the 4th worst team in the league.
They're 1 point better than Seattle.
Yeah. 61 points for Philly this year. Ouch.
Boo.
And now you can attribute some of that to injuries.
They were playing bad before the injuries.
But they were not good. So we'll see what they do in the offseason. I don't know. Obviously, they've already traded Giroux. So
maybe he resigns.
I don't know. I think he might wait to see what else they got in store, and then maybe he'll decide what he's doing. Anyway, that's it for Philly. That's the last time we're going to talk about Philly.
For the year.
Well, until we reach the offseason.
For
the year. They're getting relegated. Moving on to Pittsburgh, who hasn't been great the last few weeks either, but they did clinch a playoff spot a couple of weeks ago. They went 1-1 this week. As you mentioned, they lost to Edmonton, and as I mentioned a few minutes ago, they did beat Columbus to finish off the season. 46, 25, and 11 are the Pittsburgh Penguins, good for 103 points on the season. Still a good season. They kind of hit a rough patch here to end the year, but what are you going to do? They're still in the playoffs, so
that's all that really matters.
It's all that matters. Anything can happen in the playoffs. They were 0 for 7 on the power play, 5 for 9 on the penalty kill. Real bad penalty kill and power play this week. And you know who their top player is? Marcus Pettersson.
Ooh,
who had a goal and 2 assists this week. He is not a guy who scores a lot, and he got 3 points this week, so good for him. And to finish off the last playoffs team that we're talking about right now, the Washington Capitals. 0-3 this week. They lost to the Islanders twice, as I mentioned before, and then lost to the Rangers as well. They were 1 for 15 on the power play and 4 for 9. 4 for 9 on the penalty kill.
Yeah. They're bad.
Yeah, well, they didn't have Ovi this entire week, but realistically, you should still be competitive, even if you're down your star player. But you know what? They made the playoffs, and I would imagine that Ovi's probably going to play. So
he's been practicing. So
yeah, I would think that they just held him out for. They had already clinched a playoff spot a week or two ago.
That
so
first game, it looked like he either was that last week or this week where he got
hurt. I think it was last week.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, their final record for the season is 44, 26, and 12, which is good for exactly 100 points.
Woo.
Every team in the East is a 100-point team.
Yes.
So
it's terrifying.
There you go. Anyway, so that's it for the regular season.
We're done with it.
Let's move on to the playoffs. And I thought it would be fun if we just looked at every series and we tried to make a prediction on how we think it's going to turn out. So I was thinking maybe we could pick a winner and just guess how many games it might take.
Yeah. All right.
You know? So let's start in the East.
Uh-huh.
And just because this was the first one that popped up on NHL.com in like playoff order, let's start with the Rangers in Pittsburgh. So obviously we mentioned the Rangers' record was 52, 24, and 6 overall this season. Oh, okay. You're not even going to let me finish reading off the statistics. Their power play overall on the season was 25.2%, and their penalty kill was 82.3%. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, was 46, 25, and 11, 20.2% on the power play, 84.4 on the penalty kill, which I believe was third on the penalty kill.
Not bad.
So you're guessing Rangers in 6?
Yes. So the issue that I had with the Rangers before the trade deadline,
I'm actually picking the Rangers in 6 as well.
Is they were not good on the 5-5. They were being held, pushed forward by a amazing power play and amazing goalie. Trade deadline, they fixed those holes, and that's terrifying.
Here's the only thing. I'm agreeing with you. I think it will be Rangers in 6 as well. The only thing that I take pause at is that some of the Rangers team, including Shesterkin, are on the younger side. Now, some other sports you can say, oh, playoff experience isn't that big of a deal. In hockey, it is a big deal.
100%.
Now, I still think the Rangers are going to win this series, but I think the Penguins might give them more trouble than some other people are expecting, just because of how much the core of the Penguins and everyone else on the Penguins has played in the playoffs before.
Oh, I don't think this is going to be an easy series.
Oh God, I hope not.
That's.
I do think the Rangers are going to win eventually.
I think,
but I think it might be closer than people are expecting.
Yes.
Than other people are expecting.
I think it'll be a very close series.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the Rangers fix some regular season problems.
And
if they keep out of their own head, they'll be fine. Yeah,
a lot of that also has to do with Tristan Jarry, who did play terrible in the playoffs last year, is out for at least the first 2 games of the series.
Gotcha.
So it will be Casey DeSmith for the Penguins.
And we'll see if the defense can lock down in front of them.
We'll see. So, I agree with you, Rangers in 6. Moving on. Carolina and Boston. Let me finish the statistics before you tell me what you think. Carolina, 54, 20, and 8, as we mentioned. 22% overall in the power play this season. 88% on the penalty kill, number 1 penalty kill in the league. Boston, 51, 26, and 5. 21.2% on the power play, 81.3 on the penalty kill. Who you got?
I have Carolina.
Okay.
I think Carolina is too fast for Boston.
Yeah.
I'll do it in 6 as well.
Okay.
Carolina in 6.
I'm going to say Carolina in 5. I think here's the thing about Boston to me. I don't know the best way to phrase this, so I'm just going to say Boston hasn't really impressed me this year.
So
they made the playoffs, obviously, but I don't know. Something about them, I'm just like, I don't know.
The reason I say 6 is Lindholm, Pastrnak, and Allmark all came back from injury this week. They're coming in fresh.
Right.
And Just because Boston's slow, they're not a slouch.
But here's the thing. Lindholm doesn't have that much playoff experience either.
Well,
and neither does Allmark. And then their other goalie is Swayman, who is younger than Allmark.
Right.
So I just don't know. I don't really feel good about Boston in this series. I don't.
I have Carolina. I'm not going to be surprised if Boston pulls it out. All of these.
No, I wouldn't be surprised about anything.
All of these series.
The hockey playoffs are nuts sometimes.
All of these series to me can go either way.
I mean, yeah, technically.
Every single one can go either way.
Ever since Columbus swept Tampa Bay after Tampa Bay had that historic season where they won 62 games or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they just got bounced by Columbus in that first round. So I'm not going to be shocked if anything happens in any of these series. Anyway, let's move on to Toronto and Tampa Bay. This one I think is going to be very close. Who you got? Let me do the statistics, I suppose. Toronto, 54, 21, and 7. 27.3% on the power play, number one power play in the league.
It's very good.
And you know what? 82% on the penalty kill. Not bad.
No.
Tampa Bay, conversely, 51, 23, and 8 on the season. 23.9 on the power play. Also pretty good. 80.6 on the penalty kill. Not as good, obviously. No. Who you got?
I have Toronto.
Oh, yeah?
I have Toronto. I think the reason I have Toronto,
Stop agreeing with me, Clay.
The reason I have Toronto is because how good they've been. They've just been playing well, and also this series is going to get really chippy.
Oh, yeah. That power play is probably going to come into effect.
Well, the last time they played in the regular season, Kucherov kicked out of Marner.
That's true, yeah.
So, if Toronto stays out of their own head, they're a better team.
Yeah.
And also, if they get under if they get under Tampa's skin, Tampa's going to have a meltdown.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And it'll if you go to a Game 7, and the series has been chippy, Toronto is more likely to have a fuck these guys mentality instead of a we can't lose mentality.
Yeah. So
Toronto in 7.
All right, that's actually what I'm guessing as well. I have a good feeling about Toronto, at least in this series. It's just my gut feeling. I think they're going to finally pull it out. I do.
I think Toronto is mentally stronger this year.
I think they are, yeah.
And
Matthews had a wonderful year. The only thing that I think will hold them back is Goalies, yeah. Is goalies.
Campbell and Kallgren.
We'll see how Campbell and Kallgren, or whoever, play.
Those are the two.
In that.
Mrazek's hurt.
Yeah, that's right. Mrazek's hurt. So, that's the only thing I think might be a big factor for Toronto. But I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it.
Yes, you have to worry about Stamkos, Hedman, and Kucherov. Yes, of course. But outside of that, for Point and
Point. Yeah.
So
Hedman and Vasilevsky.
Yes.
But I don't know. I just feel like Tampa Bay. I just don't think they got it this year.
I don't.
I just don't think they got it this year.
I think Toronto's a better team as long as they stay out of their own heads.
Yeah.
If we get to a game clinching, if
anything can happen in that Game 7.
If we get to a 3-1 scenario with Toronto,
oh God, I hope not.
Look at how Toronto is acting.
Yeah.
If they are playing scared, trying to just not lose, they're not going to win the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 3-2. It doesn't matter. As long if they're
up in the series.
If they're up in the series.
If they're playing scared. Yeah,
they're not going to lose.
That's
they're
the
not
death toll for them.
Because Tampa is more seasoned. They've won the last 2 Stanley Cups. They know what to do in the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll see. Come on, Toronto. We're pulling for you. Not for the media, but for the fans and you guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Florida versus Washington. Florida, 58-18-6. President's Trophy winner. 24.4% on the power play, 79.5% on the penalty kill. Not a great penalty kill. Washington, on the other hand, is 44, 26, and 12 coming into the playoffs. 18.8 power play.
not good.
surprisingly bad for Washington.
They only had a 2-3 month stretch where they were popping at 30%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was bad.
80.4 on the penalty kill. Not too bad, but not super good. Who you got?
I have Florida.
Okay.
I have Florida. The only thing is, I don't know if it's going to be 4 games or it's going to be 7 games.
Got to pick one.
Florida in 6.
Florida in 6. Okay.
Split the difference. The thing about Washington is Florida has home ice advantage, and I believe Washington's.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Well, what I believe is Washington's away record is much better than their home record.
Oh, interesting.
They were like 25-9 on the road.
That's crazy.
And 19 for 16 at home. And then the overtime losses were exactly the same.
Oh, interesting.
They did not play well at home this year, but they played well away.
You know what? I'm going to give Washington a little bit better. I'm going to say Florida in 7. I think Florida might rattle Washington a little bit. They might. I think Washington. Did I say that right? Yeah, Washington will rattle Florida a little bit. Yeah. Sorry. I think Washington might do better. And here's the thing: Florida, they like playing track meet games.
Yeah.
Where they just try to outscore the other team and they don't really play defense and their goaltending is like meh. So I think that
Florida's goalies are good.
Yeah.
But if you're not playing defense in front of them, that's good. They're going to let in some stuff.
So I think that actually might keep Washington in this series for 7 games. I think they'll ultimately lose, but because Florida plays like that, I don't think that they're going to just like crush Washington. Because Washington has tons more playoff experience than most of the players on Florida.
Yep.
Because they're young guys or guys that have been on Florida for a while, so they have like maybe 1 or 2 playoff series under their belt. But Washington has won a Stanley Cup in recent history, gone on at least to the second round many, many, many times at this point. So I think Washington's, just like in the Pittsburgh Rangers series, I think the older teams that have more playoff experience might give the younger teams a little bit more trouble than you might expect.
Well, also with that is if things are going bad for Washington, Washington's going to throw the body. They're the
True.
Same.
Tom Wilson will get right in there.
Tom Wilson, Garnet Hathaway, Ovechkin's not afraid.
Ovechkin can throw the body too.
Not afraid to throw the body. We'll see how he does it with his shoulder.
But
at the same time, Florida can also throw the body.
Yeah. They got that Lumberg guy.
They have Radko Gudas.
Oh, right.
And it's kind of just a race to see who's going to do something stupid first. Sam Bennett or Tom Wilson. They both have guys to do stuff.
They have Hornquist too.
They have Hornquist, who
Washington loves.
So.
Yeah, I think it'll be an intriguing series to watch. I really do, because
it's either going to be a blowout or a 7-game series.
I think ultimately Washington's goaltenders are going to let them down. Vanacek and Samsonov have had not a super good season.
No,
either one of them. So
they've shown flashes.
I think they might crumble under pressure at the end.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, let's go to the West.
This is a hard one.
Now let's talk about Minnesota versus St. Louis. Minnesota 53-22-7 on the season, 20.5 power play percentage. 76.1 on the penalty kill.
That is so bad.
I want to say they're actually the worst penalty kill in the playoffs right now.
That's so bad.
It's real bad. 76.1.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst. And then on the other side, St. Louis 49-22-11, 27% on the power play. I believe they were the second best power play in the league this year. Definitely the second best. Oh, yeah, because they were only 0.3 behind Toronto. And 84.1 on the penalty kill. Who you got? I'll tell you right now, St. Louis in 6.
St. Louis in 6?
Those special team numbers are gonna hurt Minnesota.
But here's the thing.
I really think that.
They don't call penalties.
So, you'd be surprised. Sometimes they do.
Well, also, if they're egregious, they're going to call them.
Yeah.
It's the ticky-tacky ones they don't call.
But, like, that's 76%. on
It's so bad.
the 20% on the power play. That's okay, but the 76%
So bad.
in the playoffs. That's like if you give up 4 power plays, which can happen in a playoff game.
100%.
You're giving up a goal there.
Yeah.
That goal could be the entire series.
Mhm.
You know, like so. I'm thinking St. Louis has more playoff experience than Minnesota does. I think St. Louis is going to win this. I think they're going to pull it out.
I'm going to go Minnesota in 7.
All right.
I think Minnesota has nothing to lose.
I think that's our first
Disagreement.
Yeah, on at least who's going to win the series. Yeah.
I'm good. I think Minnesota has nothing to lose.
I mean, here's the thing. Minnesota did great this year.
They did excellent.
Sorry, I was turning the page. But the thing with Minnesota is, obviously they signed Kirill Kaprizov. I believe that contract was for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of time with him. But they have that creeping Sutter and Parise cap hits that are coming up.
Yeah.
That might really doom them
in
coming seasons. So this might be a big chance for them.
100%.
So, but I think they're going to squander it. I think St. Louis is going to win. So we'll see. We'll see who wins.
I wouldn't be surprised if St. Louis wins, especially with how they've played this year.
Yeah.
And what they've done in their own division. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, next up, Colorado versus Nashville. Colorado was 56, 19, and 7, 24% on the power play, 79.7 on the penalty kill. Not a great penalty kill.
Colorado in 5.
You didn't even let me read Nashville. 45, 30, and 7 is Nashville. 24.4 power play, 79.2 on penalty kill. So you said Colorado in 5?
Yeah, 5.
I'm going to one-up you. I think Colorado might sweep Nashville. I do. Nashville is just not playing well going into the playoffs. Even worse than like Washington and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I just don't, especially with UC Saros maybe being out for at least game 1.
I get they have Roman Josi, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
They have Josi, Duchesne, and Johansson had pretty good years. Forsberg had a great year, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Oh, that freaking Calgary-Nashville game on Monday or Tuesday was insane. It would have been such a good playoff series. Fights. It was 5-4.
Nashville squandered it.
Nashville squandered it.
So we're in agreement. Colorado's going to win, probably pretty handedly.
I think so.
I feel a sweep in that series. But hey, you never know. Maybe it'll be a sweep the other way.
Maybe.
Moving on to Edmonton versus LA. Edmonton, don't say anything.
I don't know this one.
Edmonton, 49, 27, and 6. 26% on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, very good power play. 79.4 on the penalty kill. Not super good. However, LA, 44, 27, 11. Their overall power play, they have the worst power play in the playoffs at 16.1%.
Yep.
And they have the second worst penalty kill at 76.7%.
That's not good.
Let me tell you something, Clay. LA's going to win this series. They're going to win it in 6. I'm telling you right now, LA's going to win this series.
See, I was leaning towards LA winning this series too. Because
those numbers are those are bad, so you could be like, oh yeah, Edmonton easily wins the series. I think LA's going to beat them.
Well, because LA has nothing to play, nothing.
They don't even have Doughty to play.
Well,
Doughty had season-ending surgery.
They have nothing to lose.
Nope.
They're just happy to be here. No one expected.
And they're going to beat Edmonton.
No one expected them to be here.
I'm telling you right now, they're going to beat Edmonton.
They're playing for Dustin Brown in his last series.
They're going to beat Edmonton and then lose in the second round.
And all the pressure's on Edmonton.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Doughty's their only injury.
Yeah. Everyone else is back. Yeah. LA in 6. That's what I'm saying.
In 6?
I'm saying it right now. LA in 6. Yeah. Edmonton is going to shit the bed. Again. Remember what happened last year. They lost to Winnipeg last year. And Winnipeg was not that much better than they were this year. And they got swept. I don't think they didn't. They added Evander Kane and Cody Ceci throughout the offseason and this season.
I don't know. It's
Mike Smith is still their goalie. He's 40.
I think he's more
Jonathan Quick's not that much younger. But
I think he's more than 40 at this point.
LA in 6. Calling it right now.
Quick is only like 36, if I recall.
Still not that much younger than Smith, but
Six,
still.
6 years?
Well, if you do the math correctly, that's 4 years.
Well, I think Smith is like 42.
Oh, maybe.
That's why I say that. It's hard. LA in 7.
LA in 7. Oh, we have such little respect for Edmonton on this podcast. Why does Bert hate Edmonton so much? Because they shit the bed in the playoffs. On to
if you lock down McDavid, and if they lock down McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't think they have
it's
an
over.
answer. Even
they don't have anything else.
Mike Smith has been playing excellent to finish the year.
Is he going to play that way in the playoffs?
That's the question.
Don't know, because he wasn't playing well before that.
This is a 10-year rematch. Mike Smith versus the Kings.
Oh, yeah, you're right, it is.
Yeah, I know. We'll see.
He's going to lose again.
Is he going to take a swipe at Dustin Brown at the same time?
Oh, my God, that would be hilarious if he did. Anyway, our last playoff matchup in the first round, Calgary versus Dallas. 21-11 is Calgary, 22.9% on the power play, 83.2 on the penalty kill. Dallas is 46-30-6 overall on the season, 22.4 on the power play, 79 exactly on the penalty kill. Who we got?
Calgary in 5.
Calgary in 5.
I wouldn't be surprised if they swept them. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins. But Calgary's top line actually played all 82 games together.
That's a good point.
And total, they put up about 300 points.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. They put about the three of them together put up about 304 points, if I am recalling correctly.
It's incredible.
Yes.
Truly. I'm going to agree. I think Calgary is also going to win.
It's because Sutter's going to kick their butt if they don't.
Yeah. See, the thing with Calgary is they're playing a type of game that is very good in the playoffs because of Daryl Sutter.
Yep.
The whole dump and chase kind of just play defense. That really works in the playoffs, as annoying as it is. But, that's mostly the refs are the most annoying part in the playoffs. But that works.
It works. And they're playing a lot of dump and chase, and they're scoring.
Yeah, they're scoring off of that. So it's working for them, and I think it'll work in the playoffs. I'm going to give Dallas a little bit more leeway. I'm going to say Calgary in 6.
Fair.
But yeah, so that would, I love that we both picked LA. I knew coming into this I was going to pick LA.
Yeah,
Hey, Edmonton, prove me wrong, Edmonton.
LA has nothing to lose.
I just think there's too much pressure on Edmonton. I think their defense and goaltending isn't that good. Their depth isn't that good.
I will say their defense.
I just think
with how Mike Smith has been playing these past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If he keeps that up, he can keep them in the series.
Yeah.
Their defense is questionable.
Oh yeah.
And if they lock down McDavid and Draisaitl,
it's over.
It's not. Yeah.
So we'll see. I could also see Edmonton winning, but I just have this gut feeling that Edmonton is gonna ruin it again.
I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton wins at all.
No,
Heck,
I wouldn't be.
They could sweep LA and just
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, yeah, there you go.
That's what they
there
should
you go.
do.
That's a confidence booster.
That's what they
right
should
there.
do.
That's what they should do. But we'll see.
Yeah.
The playoffs start tonight. We'll probably be maybe 2 to 3 games into it next week.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about them.
And we'll see where the series are at that point. I think we'll discuss every series. I don't think we need to split it, really.
No.
We'll just
watch games.
Yeah, we'll just watch games. I'll write down some statistics, and we'll just go from there.
Sounds good.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening, as always. You can follow us at BuzzPucks on Twitter. Follow us you can find us, obviously, on most podcasting services. Give us a give us a rate, give us a review.
Yep.
Or, I'm sorry, follow, rate, review, I think is what it is. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Get ready for the playoffs. I hope you're excited, because I am. But you can hear us at the same puck time.
Same puck place.
Bye-bye.
Bye.